Please welcome to the stage the co-organizer of No Band, No Wall San Francisco and former communications for Google, Facebook, and SpaceX, Dex Torricke-Barton.
Hey everyone. So I think this is a community that really likes science, so I want to start by asking for a show of hands. Who here is a fan of Albert Einstein? Yeah, alright, that's what I figured. So, I have a story. In 1933, there was a group of scientists and intellectuals and academics who came together in New York City, and they set up an organization that today probably a lot of you have heard of, called International Rescue Committee. And that's an organization that today is on the front lines of the global refugee crisis. It's helped save millions of lives in dozens of countries around the world, and right now they're saving lives. And that organization wasn't founded by a philanthropist. It wasn't founded by somebody who was driven simply by their faith or by their own personal morals. It was driven by Albert Einstein, the founder of International Rescue Committee. And the reason that Albert Einstein came together with that group of academics and experts to create that organization and save lives is because he understood that science is not an island in society. If the world is in flames, then we will all burn with it if we do not go to the defense of that world. Science cannot stand alone. Right now, the world is in flames once again. Just in the last week, the United Nations announced that we face the greatest humanitarian crisis of our times. There are now more than 65 million refugees in the world. This year, more than 20 million people face starvation around the world. And by the end of this year, nearly 1.5 million children could have starved to death. This is in the 21st century, a time which all of us at one point or another thought of as a century of progress, a century that Silicon Valley would love to own, with that graph going up and to the right. Yet now people face starvation. We face war and conflict in nation after nation. If you think this is a time of peace, tell that to the millions of people living under the jackboot of ISIS, living with oppression in nation after nation. Syria, Libya, Ukraine. The list of nations has been adding up in the last few years. And very soon, those conflicts could be coming to our doorstep. And here at home, in this community here, the most powerful generation in history, the most technologically empowered community in history, we have people who are struggling to feed their families. We have people who wonder if a year from now they'll have healthcare. We have people who late at night are wondering, are they going to be deported and are going to be severed from the American dream that we all love and believe in. This is the world we live in, and this is the world that we have all been called to go and save right now today. We have all been called to join with the Albert Einsteins of our time and stand up for a world in which science and technology serves all peoples, not just the most rich and powerful, not just the people living in communities who look like us and live like us, all of us. And that's what brought me here, and what brought probably all of you here today, and what brought many of us to live our lives and pursue our careers and our dreams in this community. I didn't come to Silicon Valley just because I wanted to earn a quick buck, or I wanted to build an interesting app that gave me new ways to look at pictures of cats. I really believe that this community is here to save the world and to change the world. How many of you agree with that? If we wanted to just live quiet lives and easy lives and to earn that quick buck, we could do that in so many other ways, and many other people have chosen those ways. We have chosen a more difficult and dangerous path to try and innovate, to try and push back the boundaries of knowledge and innovation in order that we serve more peoples from more communities. And I say, that is the purpose of this community, and we are here to defend it. So what can we do now, all of us, to continue defending that vision of this community? There are three things which I think we all need to do right now. The first is, We must all decide what is the best way to make our impact right now at this moment in history. These are extraordinary times, and that means the burden is on all of us to make extraordinary use of our own time. Every day, I'm sure you wake up, and if you're like me, you check the news, and you wonder what's going to be today's grief brought by certain politicians and leaders in the world. You wonder, just what is it that generation of bureaucrats and elites is going to do to mess things up for the rest of us? And every day, I'm sure, you think, I could be a part of resisting those efforts in many different ways. You need to choose how to focus your time and energies over the next few years, and also how to pace yourselves. It's really, really tiring turning out to events like this, and that's why I think it's frankly extraordinary that so many people came here today on this baking hot day, on a weekday during work. So give yourselves a round of applause too. The second thing we can do, we must defend the values that we care about in the organizations and communities in which we live. It's all very well and good to say we're here to fight for the vision of the future that we believe in. But if you go to work for an organization that doesn't stand up for those values, if you aid in building products for organizations that treat their workers badly and that don't share a sense of social responsibility for the communities in which we find ourselves, then you are part of the problem too. I know that you are not part of the problem, and that is why you must continue to be voices for all your friends and colleagues and neighbors and everybody you know who works in tech, to demand that we listen to the better angels of our nature. Do not give in to the easy path just because you get more restricted stock units. Choose the hard path and the right path. And finally, we have to choose to stand up for the lives of people outside of this community and the world's most vulnerable people. And I want to tell you a story. I am the son of a refugee. My father was a refugee during World War II. When he was just 4 years old, he escaped from Burma when the country was invaded by the Japanese army. And he lost a lot of his family along the way. He told me this harrowing story in the last couple of years of his life about how to escape from that country. He walked for days and days through burnt out cities and through the destroyed remnants of that society. And it felt hopeless. And one day, my father came to a clearing in a jungle. And there, in the middle of nowhere, hundreds of miles of civilization, he found a crew of US airmen, volunteers from the United States, who were running this desperate relief operation from the jungles of Burma. They were flying refugees into India so they could start new lives. And that's how my father got away with his sisters. And I'm telling you this story because until the end of his days, my father, who was not a worldly man, who did not like talking about politics, who admitted that he did watch The Apprentice with Donald Trump, he ultimately loved this country. He lived the rest of his life in England, but he always admired and respected and cherished a country that could produce a generation of heroes who went and stood up for the defense of the rest of the world. That's who we are. I'm an immigrant in this country. I'm only a recent member of the American family, but that is the America that I believe in and that I know all of you do. And the closing message I took from that story of my father, the refugee, is that when we choose to defend the lives of people other than our own, when we choose to take that hard path and the right path, we inspire people to love. And love is something that is much stronger than hate. Hate of the kind that builds walls between peoples and communities makes us strong for an instant. But when we choose love, it makes us strong now and forever. And we should choose love as a community. Thank you.